people have not, they're like, damn, this is exactly how I feel with my friends. Like, there's so many, like, Black people that grew up in all white, and they're like, no one's saying anything. So they feel like they don't even care about me, and I was part of their community.
All money, all money. Yeah. It's amazing to be alive when want you to die. Mad at every check you deposit. I see it all in their eyes. I'ma stunt harder, I'ma shop more. Black bellboy Persian rugs at the door. Giving jobs, living like the mob. A scotch and a soda, Anastasia.com. People talking about me, say I got a body. Or are they mad at me that the house got a lobby? Big 4/5 spliff at the boat slip. Tiptoeing through the city, Alvin Ailey with a...
Talking about your dad, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my stepdad, somebody that I feel like was very influential in my life. Passed away in 2016 to diabetes complication, and that was, I call him Superman. His middle name was Man, so I call him Superman instead of Superman. But my stepdad was somebody that greatest inspiration for me up here. Like, the dude could do no wrong in my eyes. Honestly, I would never in a million years think of him cheating on my mom, putting his hands on my mom, disrespecting my mom mentally, emotionally, in no sorts. Like, he was a godly man, but as well, he's a down to earth. He was a real person like us. You know, he talked to me, he shed a light on me about a lot of issues from middle school. He taught me a lot of things, and a lot of things I'm still learning about myself. And so I definitely understand what you mean by, you know, feeling the pressures of one thing that was relatable was that I felt the pressures of, he was stern with me about sports, because he went to Kentucky track, but he was definitely somebody that, you know, I wanted to make proud. He said, with your dad, I'm learning some of that stuff go. And so he was somebody that in high school was on me, you know, it was a little bit of pressure, but he did out of love. And now, looking back on it, I love what he did because it pushed me to be where I'm at now. Had I not had that, had I had my real dad, it would have been a change of heart for real, because I relate my situation to Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart talks about his mom, he comes from his mom's side of the structure, his dad was just dysfunctional. That's how my situation was with my real dad. You know, he was a, you know, ex-felon and was in jail. He went and grew up in Chicago, didn't go to high school, dropped out of middle school. So it's like the table for the two, and it's like you see both in, you know, like you're saying. So it's like I'm just glad I picked the right side instead of the wrong. So to enlighten you, you know, obviously we already made a connection being friends and stuff, but I'm always here to, you know, especially when it's trauma like that, that's when you losing a loved one that, you know, in your situation, you know, you might have yearned for a deeper relationship. And in mine, I wish he would have gone, because I felt like there was so much more I could learn from him in his presence. But I'm learning more without his presence. And so I just want to shine a light on that real quick. I don't want you to, or anybody to ever feel alone. That's what the trauma does, or wants to make you feel like. So definitely say that. For sure. I already know how it be some days. Like, some days you don't even want to get up. Some days you don't want to talk about nothing because things can get caught in your mind. But you gotta keep pushing, and that's why we talk about your work ethic and how you train every day and how you're relentlessly in the weight room and doing what you do. That is motivation. I could care less. I ain't even gonna say care less, because I want to get into that part too. Being traditionally a male-dominated field that you in, knocking the door down as a powerful Black queen, like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Because like it had to be intimidating when you first started training. Was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I always thought women should be competing with males.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the weight room in high school, I used to try to like lift more than the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I could. My shoulders are really strong, so I could sometimes lift more than them. It made me feel great. But I will say, I know I'm good at exercising. I know I'm good at with the human body. I struggle. I kind of feel like I get shy or apprehensive to speak in a room full of males. That does get intimidating. And also like correcting males. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I know the male ego is fragile sometimes. But the world is changing, and honestly, like some men have shocked me. Like some guys that are trying to get into the fitness game, they actually like hit me up and they ask me how did I do it and like take advice. And props to them, because it's so hard, I know, for males to put their ego aside and like, okay, we can actually learn something from women, even in a fitness industry that's mostly males. I stopped trying to be right all the time. That's one of the biggest things. I used to always be like, I'm right, you're wrong, all the time when I was young. And the biggest thing that helped me be successful is I would connect with as many trainers as I could possibly connect with. And I would have them put me through a workout. I would learn their coaching styles, and I would like pick and choose, like, ooh, I like, he did that, she did that. I don't like that too much, that might be a little too intense, or like just picked and made my own style with it. Because you'll learn with fitness coaches, everyone has their own style, and just because you're a good coach doesn't mean you're the right coach forever. So it's really good to not take it personal, because people switch coaches a lot in this industry, and a lot of coaches take that like really personally. I understand, like, if you're my person, you're my person. If you're not, you're not. I hope you still find success at the end of the day, even if it's not with me. So, yeah, I think it's empowering being like a female, and I'm blessed to have a really close friend with Angie. She's been doing it for a minute. She's a little bit older than me, and so she kind of guides me through being like a powerful woman in this industry. She teach me a lot about like not being walked on and stuff like that. So props to her. It's always good to have like a mentor, someone to teach you the ropes. I personally have like 5 different mentors that I look up to in all aspects of what I want to look like. I always say like you should have 2 rooms that you're in. And one room you're the least educated or least knowledgeable in. And go learn. And then once you learn, put yourself with people that can learn from you. It's draining if you're constantly being with people that you kind of feel like you're outgrown, or they don't inspire you or don't motivate you. So it's very important to balance the two, to make sure you're learning and growing yourself, but also it's really important to help people get to the level you're at as well. Those are crucial parts. I feel like one of the ones that we're lacking today is helping others come along with us. Not necessarily like enabling them or like giving them handouts, but like teaching and like supporting them and saying and explaining how I struggle too, but you can get through this because I got through this. I'm not special. None of us are special. There's people that put in work and there's people that don't. So, yeah.
So 2020 happened. A lot of stuff happened. Let's first talk pandemic, then we get to the other stuff. I was like.
It was cool. I lost my mind for about a week, just because the gyms were closed.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
Then I was like, all right, Yana, remember when you were a child and like you wanted to build something out of cardboard and you built something? Let's do that. So I actually started training people outside, no equipment, like they would be like 10 feet away and I would tell them what to do. It would be like full body HIIT workout. So I did that actually during quarantine, and I worked out myself. I ran every single day. and I did full body workouts outside. I was lucky that it was summer when it happened.
About Zoom calls.
Yep, a lot of Zoom. So, yeah, I actually like really started to enjoy it.
You got comfortable. That's what they made it. That's what they made it feel like.
I got really like, I was blessed that I actually got more fit than I was before quarantine. And I got to focus on like what I wanted to do with my business. And I got to plan and think out, got to watch a lot of Netflix, and that's dope. There was a lot of cool shows on there.
A lot of downtime.
Yeah.
I got close with my family. That's probably the most we've been together since college. We've been learning about people and stuff like that. Food.
Yeah. Like we had to actually like communicate.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Cause it was crazy out here. Like people, like I remember the stores and everything, like being gone.
yeah.
Toilet paper. I'm like, what people gonna do with all of this? What you gonna do when they put it back up in the water? I'm like, man. So yeah, that was crazy.
It was.
So then, we fast forward to May 2020. The world changes in Minnesota. Forever. What happened in May will forever be embedded in this country, in this world. And, like great now, George Floyd, taking all of that in, how, just speak your mind, how did that really make you feel, seeing the video, being where you come from, you talk about your family, talking about, being half white, your mother's white, you have that side of family. What were those conversations like? Everything, just taking it all in.
So it actually started, my experience started with Ahmaud Arbery.
Mm-hmm. I
I remember seeing that, and I was like, why isn't everyone freaking out about this? Like, it is 2020, and a man just got shot jogging on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that no one was talking about it in North Dakota, not on Facebook, not on Instagram, but they were still posting their lives. And I remember there was the Ahmaud Arbery run, and me and one of my friends, we went and ran in respect to him. And like, no one was really posting about it. And it just made me feel some type of way. Like, I was literally getting angry seeing people like post their dog. And I was like, a black man just got killed. Like, don't give a shit. So I was like, Kiana, chill out, relax. You have anger issues, relax. So then George Floyd happened. And everyone from North Dakota, I'm like, not trying to break, but I'm really well known in North Dakota because I was a Greek sport athlete, and I don't know, I'm just really well known. So none of my coaches, none of my like friends from there, none of my family really said anything. And I sat with it for about 24 hours. I was like, okay, Kiana, don't say anything, because I'm really outspoken. And I was like, nah, fuck this shit. I was like, okay. I literally grabbed my Instagram camera, and I started talking, and I called everyone out from North Dakota. I posted on my story. I got so much responses, and then people kept on, they're like, damn, this is exactly how I feel with my friends. Like, there's so many like black people that grew up in all white, and they're like, no one's saying anything, so they feel like they don't even care about me, and I was part of their community. So like, everyone's like, post it on your actual feed, and that went completely viral, and I got to see so much of different perspectives, and people were writing long paragraphs, and I got to read like all their different stories, and I also got a lot of hate too, or people saying like, well, I don't really post much, so why would I post this if I just don't post in general? And it just made me, that was probably the most angriest I've been for like a long time. Like, I would just wake up, I was angry. But I was still trying to be a positive figure. It was so hard. I would cry every single day. And then you just see privileged people say some dumbass shit, and oh my gosh, you just feel like powerless, and you feel like people don't care, and it's, I don't know, I felt hopeless sometimes, and but it also taught me so much about our history, our community. I actually reached out to my superintendent at my school district, and I got them to start a new curriculum for raising awareness about racial inequality. Because I know my principal at my high school, and I called him, I was like, no one's talking about this, and I didn't even learn, I didn't know about Tulsa. We didn't learn about Tulsa, a whole black community that was doing good on its own, and they just burned and killed people. We did not learn about that. How did we not learn about that? Oh, because we have white teachers and we have white students. Why would we tell people, oh, we just killed a whole city? But that is, and we try to make other countries look bad about wars and stuff like that. But we did some, I'm sorry to lie, fucked up shit to our own people in our own country. And I was like, man, you had me thinking the Japanese were the bad guys for bombing Pearl Harbor. But we bombed our own city. What? I went hard for at least, I want to say 4 months, protesting, talking every day on my Instagram, just raising awareness. As I learned stuff, I would tell people. I lived in downtown, so military was literally at my footsteps every day, helicopters above. I was on the bridge when the semi drove into the crowd. I had police officers point gas guns at me when I'm running away from a semi. I saw some crazy ass shit. So I feel like, I don't know, nothing surprises me anymore.
Okay.
Nothing. It's sad to say, the events that just happened the last 3 weeks with a man being shot by the police and claimed that he had a gun, but they showed that he didn't, and a woman getting ran over
by another white man.
That's exactly what was intended to happen with that semi, that. But there were thousands of people on that bridge, so I was like, this does not surprise me. So I'm an empath, so I feel everything. When someone's struggling, I've put myself in their shoes. So I know for my mental health, I have to do it in waves. I can't be fully into it 24/7, else I'll lose my mind. So that's the biggest thing I learned about it. That was one of the biggest things I did on Instagram, was to tell people how to cope with things and how to stay positive, because it is hard to see humanity act so inhumane.
Man, they telling me to wrap it up, but we ain't gonna wrap it up. We gonna cut off that. We ain't wrapping it up. The flow, the energy of the show is going good, because now I got my perspective and what I want to say. You said a lot. I gotta say a lot. I got some more questions for you. And so what we gonna do it like this is, you just said something about how they didn't warn you. I vividly remember going down in 8th grade. We learned about Anne Frank. We learned about the Nazis and everything. There was 2 pages of slavery in my social studies book. And now I'm coming from Minneapolis schools. I know our whole social studies book is about slave trade, slave, and everything. So it's the slightest things that white America does. And I'm not against white people. I love everybody. But the ones that, the bad apples, make it bad for the good ones. And the one thing that I will say, I think but I knew already, and a lot of people that can relate, is the thing that what happened with the beauty, I ain't even gonna call it beauty, but the tragedy of George Floyd dying is it exposed more of what I'm going into my next question now, the Minnesota Nice. Minnesota Nice is not really Minnesota Nice. People think it's that. But it's, you know, people put a cover up for how they really feel. You know, and especially when it comes to black business. Where I gave you the statistic, it's probably even 2 decimals less than that in Minnesota. Think about now, people of our generation, our age, and the percentage of black entrepreneurs and businesses in the whole Twin Cities compared to everything else. It's probably not even 1% that makes it. So, you know, the things that happened with George Floyd and even the riots, and then I remember people putting up black-owned stickers because they didn't want people to burn them down and stuff like that. And then there was, you know, the whole thing about people always thought it was, won't call us thugs, call us this, call us that. And we weren't even, half of them things were started by Klan members and them boys. So it's like, what is really the truth? And so, as a black man, and understanding that we are the most hated in the world, in the U.S. completely, when that happened, I just was like, man, like, I was fearful for everybody that looked like me, because now going out of my house every day, it's like, I don't know done yet, but I'm about to, like, like, you gotta protect yourself at all costs because you never know, and it's like you shouldn't have to feel that uncomfortable in a place where you lived your whole life. And so, for me going through that, it was just tough. But one thing that I did learn, and one thing I will light on, because I know people want to ask, well, what about the riots? What about this and that? I'm gonna give you my 2 cents. The way I told a lot of my friends was, it wasn't that I didn't support that. It wasn't that I didn't, you know, encourage people to be protesting. I'm not encouraging you to go steal and do any of that dumb stuff. But go let your voice be heard. But the way I played mine was the character. I'm big on character. I'm just gonna represent myself who I truly am every day. So I don't give the police. I don't give, you know, the club owners. I don't give the mall people, if I'm going to the mall or go to the gym or convenience store, I don't give them a reason to think different of me, that I am this type of black guy. Just because I like to dress like this doesn't mean that I'm a thug, doesn't mean that I'm out here trying to do bad. This is just a part of my culture. But I'm not gonna go front line and gas up like that's what I am. You know, just to do what? You doing that, and what are you doing the rest of the days? Now Floyd has been a year now, and a lot of those people that were talking ain't talking no more, or ain't doing the same thing they should be doing. They was doing for him, for rest his soul, Winston Smith, that just died. You know, and so my whole thing is let your character just show, whatever that is. If you're a frontline person like you, be a frontline. Me, I don't want to be that. I just want to show that my character is who I am. I'm standing on my integrity, and this is how I'm going to go about it. And so when all of that happened, man, it changed me. Every time I go to the square, now I'm upset, you know, they just cut down the square and everything. Did it bad for me folks. And this was over there a couple of weeks ago. Family came in town from Kansas City and was over there. And every time I go, it's goosebumps for real, because it's a tragedy. And now we have history in Minnesota, black history. And so for a state that is predominantly white, it's like, man, you know, it's just something that is crazy. I just want to spin that right into my next topic real quick, because I got a couple more questions. We're going to conclude it. I know Joe is getting back right now, but I don't care. Joe knows that. But BGM, Black Girl Magic, I want to talk about this a little bit. You know, where I see you, I don't know if it's your cousin, your niece, you usually have a little girl on the Instagram with you. Yeah, and it's cute because I'm like, see, that's a good example. That's what we're doing. That's because we got to talk about the next generation. We're in the fold of, you know, our people. Now they are seeing stuff that we didn't see. Now we got to be able to explain it and show them what we're supposed to do. So when I see that with you, it's like Black Girl Magic. I have sisters, I have nieces. I don't have kids yet, but I have sisters and nieces, and I understand the value of, you know, what a black girl, what it means for a black girl to feel appreciated. My mom is a woman that don't need nobody to push her, but I still see how she loves it when people appreciate who she is and giving her flowers and doing things for her like that. So talk a little bit about that. I know it's a rhetorical question, but I wrote on here, how do we change Black Girl Magic from the hashtag to normalizing?
I was a little girl. I didn't see any older mixed or black women around. So I started to try to look like the white girls. I literally started straightening my hair. I wore colored contacts, actually. I would try to dress the same, all of that. And then one day, like, I've always felt like I was unique, and then one day I was like, yeah, just embrace it. Like, you are, I see the other black girls on TV. Like, you fit in with them. Like, you're just happen to be in this area. So just be who you are, like, be organic. And it was really hard for me to do it because I got judged. People, like, would always make comments, like, even just, like, dumb stuff like, oh, your hair is fluffy, or, like, dumb stuff like that.
You ever get white people in the
Yes, all the time. All the time. And I used to not like my curls at all. And now, like, there's definitely already a change because, like, curly hair is, like everyone wants curly hair. Like, everyone. And I remember everyone wanted stick straight hair. So, with the little snooky put on the top. So, I just, like, when I look at Dasha, she reminds me of me, like, when I was younger. And, like, her mom is white, and she lives in, like, a more white community. And I make sure to remind her that, like, she is beautiful. Like, she doesn't like to wear her hair curly because she thinks it gets fluffy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so, like, I will always wear my natural. This isn't my natural hair, guys. I'm sorry, I should wear my curly hair. But I will always wear my curly hair in front of her, and like, to remind her that she is beautiful and she thinks I'm beautiful. So I'm like, look, we have the same curly hair. It's just like what we see, we think, like, that we need to be like other people to be approved. And I, like, really want her to stay her authentic self. That's a tough question though, to make it a normalized thing. Honestly, like,
What I'm just saying, like, what you can play your part, not everybody, just what you can do.
honestly, I already feel like our culture is changing. I see so many mixed black girls. We're all stepping into our power. They're, like, everyone is beautiful in their own way, and the fact that, like, it was frowned upon at some point to have curly hair. And, like, I learned about the history of braids too, because, like, back when we were enslaved, that's kind of how because they weren't allowed to pick how they dressed and stuff, so they would do different design braids to show their own style. That's where, like, all the different braiding came from. I didn't learn that until all this stuff. It's just so sad that all this had to happen for me to learn stuff like that. But I know everything about Abraham Lincoln. And sorry. But yeah.
Final question. I know we talked about a lot. I appreciate you. What do you see as your full purpose? Or I try to get spiritual sometimes. I don't know if you're a spiritual person or not. I don't like to push that on that on people. But what do you think your full purpose is on this earth? And what do you think the purpose of Twin Cities moving forward as a whole, as a community, as accepting black and brown people more, accepting us for who we are, and just engaging our business, engaging just our culture? How do you see all of that? Where does yours play a part?
So the first one, my purpose. I believe my purpose is to help others find their purpose. And I believe I'm a servant to others. I really just feel like I'm happiest when I'm helping other people. There's no better feeling when I see someone step into their power, whether it's they lost 10 pounds or they finally feel the confidence to go out in a public setting just because they had suffered with anxiety, or that they're learning how to smile at themselves in the mirror because they've been suffering with depression. And just being part of that journey, that's such an amazing experience for me, and that's what fills my cup. So that's what I feel like my purpose is. The community of Minneapolis, I feel like it's gonna still get a lot worse before it gets better. I mean, it's bad on both parts. Black people, we're mad, we're furious, things are still happening, and I feel like it's just making us more riled up. And white people are still doing fucked up shit too. So I'm glad that they're starting to put programs into place with the police and starting a new system of people that come to help de-escalate situations other than the police. I hope those actually get going, but like I said, it's gonna take time. We just need to keep weeding the bad ones out. This has been generations on generations on generations of social and racial inequality. So it's going to take time. I remember, I went to Laguna Beach and this guy was like, I accidentally offended a Native American, but I'm old. So like, I didn't mean to, it's just because I'm old. And like, I feel like a lot of people have that perspective, that the older generation, that they're like, we were kind of taught to be racist, because that's like, when it was like the 1960s that we were, what was it, that we could vote or something? So like, just like literally 100 years ago, we were not equal. We were not considered a full human. So like, it's gonna take time.
Trying to get a grip, but you just can't clutch it. When the money's in a circle, the squares can't touch it. Reaping the benefits from the years that we suffered. If they don't know nothing else, they know I'm not to be with. Chilling on the deck, brainstorming on a check. You don't see the bigger picture, you just see the silhouette. Keep your still for a nailer. Money on my mind, while I hold still for the tailor. 3-man weave, I dump it off to the trailer. If the pack too loud, dump it off with the